The holidays are coming up, and I felt, well, considering that I make stuff weekly, why not just record me making one of the gifts for my family? This one's for my brother, and it's just, well, you know who it is. To start, I just make a blue bean and put some white right at the top, followed by 2 straps of the blue clay, right over connecting the 2 sides, the front and the back. And once I have both of those 2 connecting and squished down so that they're more flattened, on the front side I add a little bit more clay because, well, it's necessary. After I have that, I can start working on shaping out the head, which is just a half circle since the top part of it is covered by a helmet. Once this is attached to the top of the body, I can start cutting up some red shapes in order to make a bow tie. This is a circle in the middle and 2 triangles, one on either side, placed right on the front of the neck, covering up any possible white on the front side of the overalls. After this, I just fix up the shaping a little bit, add 2 lighter blue dots on the back because that has the design for some reason. And after that, I begin work on the minecart. The minecart is just some brown clay that is pushed into a sheet and then wrapped all the way around into a rectangle and then connected on both sides. This is blended together so that it just looks like one smooth thing, although that may be unnecessary, and then dark gray is put on the bottom part to cover up the holes and make this one solid minecart. After I have that and squish it all into shape, I can add the little design parts with some thick-ish worms of the gray clay that then get flattened out into more strips instead of worms and placed on and made to be the proper size. Once these are on, these just get pushed into the proper position and then duplicated over to the other side, followed by one final worm over the entire top, with that being a slightly lighter gray. This is where that ends up happening, with the worm getting wrapped all the way around, cut to the proper size, flattened out, wrapped around again, and then once again cut to the proper size. Once this is fully done, that's basically the big picture of the minecart done, although a bunch of smaller details still need to get done, so it's not really done, I guess. Then I add a little to the front for the light that gets added onto the front of the minecart later, and then I start adding a slight texture for make it look kind of like wood, I guess. Once this is added to all sides, I can begin work on the bolts. These are just 2 dots placed on all 4 sides with 8 dots in total, just placed about where I show, I guess. And after that, I place a worm on the bottom, and on the front of it, I attach a little I don't do that yet. Right now I am attaching the wheels, which is a darker navy color, with the dark gray bolts on the middle part of it as the type of axle, I guess. Once I have all the wheels, I can then add that little light gray attachment to the front part with a little bolt on the front, and I can finally place Carl into the minecart. After I do that, I can begin work on the whatever this is, on the steering system, not the arms, which is just light gray, followed by the same dark blue as the wheels. And now I can start work on the arms, which starts as 2 gray circles, then 2 dark gray worms that get squished to the proper arm size, and then the circle gets placed on the edge of that. 2 of these are made, and then indents are wrapped all the way across the arms, 2 indents on each arm. And then I make the hands. The hands are just a pinched out thumb, followed by cut out fingers. I just made 2 cuts for a 3-finger hand, even though Carl does have 4. So if you want to make this more accurate, you could have 4 fingers, and that'd be cool, I guess. Then I place the hand onto the wrist, and then add a little worm around the wrist to give it more support, and because that's what the design has. Now that both of the hands are made, I can place one of them on and have them grab onto that steering system that I made before, And after I have that steering system kind of grabbed onto and both of the arms kind of somewhat placed into the right spot, I can start work on the helmet. The helmet's just a yellow ball that gets placed on the head. Then I remove the head to make it easier to work with and wrap a worm around the seam of the helmet and the head to make it, well, more obvious. Then I just pinch it out to make it more, well, apparent and look more like a helmet and not like a Voltorb, I guess. Then the worm gets blended into the yellow, not the gray though, because that's not how that works. And once I'm done with that, I can make the goggles. Or I guess it's a robot, so I guess just the eyes. This is just a worm of reddish brown that gets wrapped around the helmet and then slightly flattened, and then 2 large gray circles then get pushed in with a ball stylus and placed right on there with the ball stylus just kind of making it even more the correct shape. And these act as the eyes for the future. And then I place all of the darker yellow bolts, 1 on the top and then 6 on the rim of the helmet right at the bottom where the worm was added. Once I have all of these done, I can then do something else. Make the hammer. I'm making the hammer. The hammer is just some brown, then a box of light gray, followed by 2 claws of a darker gray. The box gets put into the handle. The claw gets made out of the darker gray and then placed in on either side of the box. Once this is done, this gets placed into the hand of Carl, and then I can begin work on all of the translucent elements, starting with a translucent light yellow in the eyes, and then a translucent white for the same color as the light, then a little thing on the top to make it look more accurate to how it actually is with a darker gray, and then white translucent clay for the mouth and pupils. The mouth gets 3 incisions for 4 teeth, and the eyes, well, just the pupils are just 2 small white dots. That then, once that's done, allows for me to just put everything back together again, finishing off the entire project. I think mostly, if there's anything else, it's mostly just a few more steps. And with all of this being added together, it seems like it's done.